今年5月，政府邀请国际学者来台召开第3次两公约国际审查会议。很感谢这些国际专家学者愿意来到台湾，并且以自身多年人权的经验，一针见血地点出政府严重破坏人权的行为。相信这些审查委员是抱着希望台湾更好的心情来给予真实的回应。接下来我们来看相关的影带。
I have always asked how Taiwan thinks about what Taiwan thinks about the Universal Declaration on Human Rights in particular, and about human rights education in general. So mind you, this is now the 3rd time that I have been here. On the average, that's what? At least 10 years, right? From the first time that I came here. And up to now, I feel like a failure, and you know why? Nobody seems to be interested in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Without the Universal Declaration on Human Rights, there would be no International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, nor would there be a covenant on economic, social, and cultural rights, and all the others that followed after.
The two covenants have been in force in Taiwan for 13 years. However, they simply exist in name. Human rights are not being respected in government agencies. Over the years, the international reviewers' concluding observations and recommendations have not been taken seriously. The two covenants have yet to achieve the same power of the Constitution of Taiwan and basic human rights guaranteed by the Constitution, such as the right to effective remedies, anti-torture, and freedom of religion and belief, have not been implemented.
在这样国际级的会议中呢，国际审查委员正是把人民的心声告诉了政府。真心期许我们的政府呢会有所改变，但是相当可惜的是啊，在前阵子8月30、31日及9月2日，在台湾举行了2022联合国反贪腐公约第2次国家报告国际审查，一样有专家学者来台湾，但是呢，这一次却是个闭门会议，不知道是不是因为要选举的关系啊，对于反贪腐这个议题相对的敏感。它开放民众参与的程度很低啊，连最基本的中英文直播都没有。但是呢，反贪腐却是一个浅显易懂、人人都看得懂的议题。那为什么不敢直播，让这些会议内容让人民知道呢？这5天的国际会议呢，花了人民纳税钱673万啊，一天平均花了168.25万啊。难道花这么多钱是要看廉政府敷衍民众吗？更讽刺的是啊，这一次的主办单位是法务部的廉政署，那他的前副署长呢侯宽仁就是制造了养小鬼起诉书啊，害台湾贻笑国际的人啊，更是制造台湾人权被破坏案件人数最多的太极门假案。接下来呢，我们就来看国际专家学者对这个太极门假案的看法。
What is Taiji Men? Taiji Men is a menpai or a spiritual group teaching Qigong, founded by Dr. Hong Tao-tse in Taiwan in 1966. It is based on the ancient teachings of Taoism, but is not a religion, and it's open to people of all faiths. Actually, I am a Roman Catholic, and when I visited the group in Taiwan, I met students who are themselves Catholics and of many other religions. Now, why is there a problem with Taiji Men? Why, when, and how is this group persecuted or discriminated against? Why? Since the imperial era in China, some groups have been labeled as Seijiao. This is translated as cults, but the translation is not entirely accurate. Seijiao means heterodox teachings, teachings the government or the politicians, for whatever reasons, do not approve of. this idea of Sezhao passed from imperial China to republican China to mainland China today, and also existed in Taiwan during the martial law era and beyond. So when was Taiji Men persecuted? In 1996, for political reasons, there was in Taiwan a crackdown on groups the government regarded as hostile to the politicians in power. Criminal actions were launched. The leader of Taiji Men and other people went to jail, but all these criminal actions totally collapsed. Dr. Hong and Taiji Men not only were recognized as totally innocent, but even the court ends up apologizing to them for the unfair and unsubstantiated accusation. So how was Taiji Men persecuted? A byproduct of the failed criminal action were tax audits. Taiji Men were accused of tax evasion, and it was claimed that the offers disciples gave to their master in the so-called red envelopes were not gifts from disciple to master, but were payment for courses in a cram school. Again, this was false, and the highest administrative courts and authorities in Taiwan stated that there was no tax evasion, that the accusations were false, that Taiji Men was not guilty of tax evasion. Based on these decisions, however, the tax office agreed to reduce to zero the tax bills for Taiji Men for all years except year 1992. They claim that for 1992, the appeal terms had expired. But of course, there is no appeal term when decisions are grossly unjust. They can always be revised. In conclusion, what is happening now? Now the tax office is insisting with its bill for 1992 and threatens to seize properties of Taiji Men and auction them, which will cause enormous harm to Taiji Men and to freedom of belief. It's not about money. Taiji Men has spent more in legal expenses than what will pay if they paid the tax bill for 92. It's about principle. They didn't commit any wrongdoing, and they don't want to admit this. It will be false.
当我们受到不公义或是看到不公义的事件时，不敢站出来发声了，那我们就要很小心，有所警惕，我们的权益是不是一步步被公权力侵蚀了？接下来我们来看其他国际专家学者对太极门假案的声援。
Taiwan is nowadays one of the great democracies in the world. So how can we understand that after 14 years, a few bureaucrats are still able to harass and persecute a peaceful and honest movement that has proven its good faith in court for the last 25 years? How can we understand that less than a year ago, Taiji Men saw their land and properties auctioned and confiscated by the state? Well, no country is perfect. But the problem is that when it's a so-called democratic country which starts erring on the wrong side of the tracks, when injustice occurs in a place that is supposed to be one of the good places of the world. The effect may be worse than when it occurs in an already totalitarian country. Why? Because it lowers the very standards of democracy for the entire world. It sends the message that injustice would not matter, that wherever you are, bad guys can win over good guys, and that there is no accountability in this world. A system where dishonest civil servants are allowed to continue to abuse their power without being stopped and without effective accountability needs reform. In the Taiji Men case, the authority of control has found gross violations of human rights by the authorities for the wrongful handling of the case. That is already a good thing, but it has not stopped the fanatics who were at the origin of all attacks against the Taiji Men. It has not put a final period to the case, because what matters to Taiji Men Dizzy is not the property per se. What matters the most is their right to practice their spirituality freely without being harassed, the right to teach their spirituality freely without being harassed, the possibility to spread goodness around without undue interference and without undue burdens. I make the wish that the Taiji Men finally see the end of the persecution and recover its properties and land. And I make the wish that justice prevails once for all in the Taiji Men case, so that all of the Dizzy can now concentrate on their spiritual mission and practice without interference for the greatest good.
期许政府真的不要被少数的流氓官僚给绑架了，拖累台湾的进步，降低了整个民主法治的标准。呼吁政府要立即平反太极门假案，为后世立标杆。解决这个案件并不难，拿出良心跟勇气，用行政程序法第117条直接撤销税单，是简单、快速、有效的做法。因为80年度的违法税单本身就是一个莫须有的罪名，判决也严重违反侵犯人权。坚持真理，一起为正义奋斗到底。